we have a quorum yet.
I saw Dr. Thacker, Rachel, Kurt, Jason, Elizabeth, Bob, Holly, you, and Jim.
Yeah, we're good.
John McNamara is out. Is that everyone else? Everyone, Sam?
Yes. Yep. Let me go ahead and unmute and start the video for the commission members.
Tell me whenever you're ready.
Do we need a motion to for the So just note that.
Well, petitions requested. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Jason. Okay, should be
Good.
good. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Trying to get everyone to start their video and unmute and keeping everyone else.
We're good to go.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. The time is now, what do we got, 3:33, and I hereby call the March 16th, 2021 meeting of the Area Plan Commission to order. Before I begin, I have a few announcements. This meeting is held in person and via Zoom video and teleconferencing options available. We will mute people calling in or using the Zoom video until the public hearing is open. If you have two computer windows open or have a phone line active with a video window open at the same time, you will create an echo effect, making hearing you impossible. Please choose one option. In consultation with the St. Joseph County Health Department, the following protocols will be in place for all meetings held within the council chambers. Face coverings will be required for everyone in the chambers, including board members, presenters, petitioners, and members of the public. Seating in the chambers will be limited, as members from different households will need to maintain 6 feet physical distancing. Once your item has been discussed and voted on, please leave the chambers by the door in the rear of the room. The double doors should be used as an entrance only. Regarding public comment, I will first ask for anyone in public, for public comment for those sitting in the chambers and then in the auxiliary seating of the building. Once those in person have provided their comment, those calling into the meeting remotely will be given the opportunity to provide public comment. Those wishing to provide public comment in person shall line up in the footprints of the stickers on the floor leading up to the podium. Hand sanitizers will be placed next to the podium, and we ask that you sanitize your hands after you leave the podium area. Sign-in sheets for public comment have been removed to prevent everyone from touching the same pen. For this reason, please clearly state your name and address. Please do not be surprised if you are asked to spell your name for the record. Your speaking time will not start until after this is done. We appreciate your compliance with these guidelines and for your patience as we navigate through these unprecedented times. Due to wearing face coverings and for the benefit of people listening over the phone, we ask that the commission members state their name when making a motion and a second. During portions of the meeting where public participation is allowed or required during the public hearing or privilege on the floor, if such is offered, the participating member of the public will have their microphone and camera, if any, turned on. If a member of the public wishes to participate in the portion of the meeting, they should indicate this by using the raise the hand function in Zoom and or by messaging the host in the chat function. Now that the announcements are over, may we please have the roll call?
Mr. Devon.
Present.
Let me unmute Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley, Mr. Lambright,
Present.
Ms. McCombs, Mr. McNamara, Mr. Moffett, Ms. Rawls,
Here.
Dr. Thacker,
Here.
Mr. Yule,
Present.
that's 8 present.
Okay, 8 present out of 9. We are a 9-member commission, including 1 vacant, or, sorry, we don't have a vacant petition anymore. We have 8 out of the 9 present today. If any petitioner would prefer to have their petition heard with more members present, they may ask staff to have their item tabled for future meeting when more members might be present. With that being said, may we have the reading of petition number 1?
APC number 2951-21, a proposed ordinance of Connie Pauling to zone from R Single Family District to OB Office Buffer District. Property located at 12491 Beckley Street, St. Joseph County.
Okay, the PowerPoint's just coming up. Okay, this is a property in what you might consider downtown Granger. It is, I don't seem to have the clicker working here. There we go, thank you. This is an area that is zoned single-family at the moment in the center of the screen, outlined in green. As you can see, the surrounding property is zoned commercial on the east side, business on the west side, and our single-family to the north of it. Next slide, please. Here's a picture of the property from the northeast corner of Beckley and Maine. Next. And this is looking northwest to the subject property. You see an alley on the right-hand side. Next slide, please. And then this is the subject properties on the right side of the screen from Main Street looking to the east. And you can see there's kind of a property line right about where that mailbox is, between the mailbox and the tree in the background. Next slide, please. And then here's from the opposite side looking towards where the camera was in the last picture. This is from the alley looking towards the west. So you see there's kind of those trees on the right side. Those are the neighboring property, and that shed is in the neighboring property. But on the left side of the screen is the subject property. I just wanted to give a picture of how close this property is to the neighboring property to the north, and that there is some existing shade trees in between them. But in the future, if they were to be successfully rezoned, it would call for additional shade trees to augment that landscaping. Next slide, please. So in the staff report, I make mention of the health department's report, which is pretty important, so I'm going to read it here. There's some issues identified by the health department with unsatisfactory water results from the on-site well with high nitrates and chloroforms present in the water. The septic system abandonment for the Granger water connection has not been confirmed, and it's not been verified by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, IDEM, regarding public water supply status. Additionally, the recommended actions by the health department are the need for verification from IDEM regarding the public water supply status. The well needs to be chlorinated and reverse osmosis for water treatment. It needs to be installed. And there needs to be verification of connection to the Granger sewer system. And I spoke to the health department this morning, and these issues have not all been resolved yet. And because of that, the Health Department is recommending that this application be tabled until these issues are resolved. As part of the staff report, I did outline that one of the topics, one of the criteria is responsible development and growth. And I note, it is responsible development and growth if these water issues are addressed. But until that time as those are addressed, staff recommends that this be tabled. Now, I spoke to the petitioner, and the petitioner is interested in at least having the public hearing part first before you guys consider whether to table or not. And that way, we could learn if there's any other issues that any of the neighbors have. Since this has been advertised and the neighbors have been mailed the notice, this would allow those neighbors to speak any concerns that they have without having the need to come back in a month if you decide to table it. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions by this commission right now?
This is Bob Hawley. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can, Bob, go ahead.
Thank you. Is the water test that was taken, is that the original well that was at the house? Or did they install a new well and you got a bad sample?
Does it say in the report or not?
I don't see where it specifies that in the report. We don't have the health department official here right now to give us guidance on that. But perhaps when the petitioner is speaking, he'll know more information and he might be able to tell us some more information.
Yeah, I would want to know if that's the case, if it's the original well, maybe it's only a 2-inch well versus a 4-inch well. So I'll look forward to that answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. there's
Any other
two
questions
issues,
by the
water
commission?
and sewer.
If not, let's go ahead and have the petitioner, please, at this time. Anybody here representing the petitioner?
Can you hear me? This is Craig Pauling.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see if I can. Okay. Do you want me to start with answering the questions regarding the health departments?
If you do want to give an overview of what you're looking to do here, and then, yeah, if you could answer those questions.
Okay. What we're looking for here is a rezoning of 12491 Beckley Street from its current zoning status as a single-family district to an office buffer district. We are looking, my daughter actually, into operating a two-person staffed counseling office. Basically, the services include mental health, therapy, and Christian-based counseling. Hours of operation and days of operation. I put Monday through Friday there. They actually work a 4-day work week, but sometimes a client can't make it for life reasons. So I did put Monday through Friday, even though I think they'll be operating, or I know they'll be operating on a 4-day schedule most weeks. The hours are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's important to note that there are only 2 clients there at any one time. And they're scheduled in such a way that once the client leaves, they have some paperwork, some stuff they have to do in between, and then, the next client would be arriving. So it's pretty low traffic, to say the least. And on a daily basis, they're only seeing 5 to 10 clients. So That's kind of the skinny on everything, if you will. I'll jump to the question concerning some of the health department stuff. Yeah, we did drill a new 4-inch well, and just as it happens quite a bit, had some bacteria in it, whether it was from our fingers and not cleaning it well enough, or what have you. The other issue was nitrates in the water as well, which we did install a reverse osmosis system. The health department is aware of this. We've provided them with the information that they requested so far concerning that. As we speak, yes, or your environmental specialists, Grape Road there, are conducting the new water test. It was a bit delayed for 2 reasons. One, we were delayed on connecting to the actual sewer there, or the Granger sewer there, due to a NIPSCO live line that NIPSCO couldn't find. So just to be cautious, as soon as we dig, when we would have hit it. So we decided on caution here until they could actually find it. And it has been retired, which opened us up to being able to hook up, but it ran right into that extreme cold weather. So we were just able to hook up to it. I didn't want to run bleach through the system until it had somewhere to go to, obviously, and not just into the ground. They also required a professional to do that, to actually chlorinate it, which I've built a lot of homes, and I usually do that myself. So my chlorination wouldn't fly, so I had to hire Bose well drilling to come, which set back my, I probably have the water condition already met on that. Once we do have the water condition met in terms of the nitrates being satisfied through the RO system, and then the chlorination being taken care of here, then we'll be able to call the state so that we can get approval on that side of things. I think that takes care of the health department's concerns.
Craig, maybe I just misheard you. I know you said there were some delays on the sewer. Did you say it has been connected, or it's just scheduled to be connected yet?
No, it has been connected and approved by the plumbing inspector for St. Joe County.
Thank you.
There is one thing with the health department. They want a bill from the, so I'm waiting on my first bill from the Granger, or it's actually the South Bend utility or what have you, but regional sewer district. I did call to see if they could give me something, so so I'm waiting on that as well. So that would be another thing that I have to provide, which it just, I guess, logistics, not a major deal.
Excuse me, this is Jason with the town of North Liberty. Are they requiring that for proof that you are hooked up to the sewer, or what was the reasoning for needing a bill?
I thought we could provide just the plumbing inspection that we did from St. Joe County, but they require a actual bill from them to prove that I am part of the regional sewer district or what have you.
Okay.
So I spoke to them last week, looking for a bill, and the young lady is trying to help with that, to give me something that will, or just wait on getting my first bill, so.
Right.
But yes, sir, that's why.
Thank you.
This is Bob Hawley. The question I have is, is the business that's there, is it presently operating? And, excuse me, would the delay, or if we table this, be a hardship on the business? Thank
No,
you.
we're currently not operating there. There's actually some more homework we got to do with the department on some of the commercial sides of things. But both the zoning department and my friends at the building department recommended me going through the zoning first. This is a goofy thing. Typically, you have the plans and specs for a commercial build. This started off as a residential build for some reasons I can explain if you need, but that I've now switched to a commercial type thing, which is not always done. But the both of them recommended, see if I can get the zoning before I spend not a whole lot of money because it's close as it is, but before I spend the money on ADA type stuff. You notice in the pictures there was no ramps or parking area, that type of thing. All has to be worked through between zoning and the building department and the office buffer requirements. Meet those, same as the landscaping and so on and so on. So there's still some work after if we were to get this. So by no means would it have any effect on the business.
Thank you.
Any other questions by the commission at this time? Seeing none, let's go ahead and open this to the public. First, I will ask for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Please announce your name and address. You will have 5 minutes. We'll be keeping track of time. After 5 minutes, you'll hear an alarm. Please finish your thoughts quickly. So anyone wishing to speak in favor, please raise your hand on the call. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand.
This is everyone on the call right here in front of you.
Okay.
So if they don't have a hand that pops up, then there's.
Seeing none, discussion is now closed to the public. Any other questions or comments by staff or commission members? It sounds like he's got most of this already done. We just need to verify to me that it's actually put to the health department and that they approve it. But it sounds like most of the stuff, from what my expertise and my experience, should be done, just crossing Ts and dotting Is. So personally, I wouldn't see an issue. We have to still do our findings of facts and all that stuff next month too, correct? And if it were to get passed?
It would go to council.
Right, it would still go to council, right?
Yeah,
But,
this is Abby Wiles, Area Plan Commission Director. Just wanted to expand on something that the petitioner said. We did confirm with Randy James, the building commissioner, that the commercial plan review submittal will be required
Correct.
because of the change of use. And like Ryan and the petitioner said, at that time, the health department would have another opportunity to review.
Right.
And we would review and require the site be brought into compliance with the zoning ordinance requirements, which is what Mr. Pauling referenced when he
Right.
said landscaping and parking.
So this is just the first step in that process. So I don't personally see an issue with proceeding with that, knowing that there's other entities like the building department that still has to approve everything. But that's just my 2 cents. Does staff still see we need to table this, do you think, or?
When you have someone that is appearing before you, they're presenting that what they're giving is actual factually true information. It's like testimony in court. And as long as those representations are correct and you make a judgment based on that, I think that's understandable. And what you're hearing is that they're pretty much done. And so I would understand that, and I would just leave it up to you. You could, if you feel comfortable, you can make a recommendation to the council favorably, and that's your decision to make. I just, last time I consulted with the health department, I talked with Brett Davis, the assistant director of the environmental division, and the issues just were not settled to his satisfaction at that point. But you are correct, there are additional steps along the way.
So what I think we could do is, if you wanted to entertain a motion to approve, we would ask subject to health department requirements being met.
I think that's fair. Other than that, I don't see an issue with the rezoning, where it's at and what's going on around there with everything that's going, so, personally. Any other comments? Otherwise, may we have a motion?
I make a motion that we give a favorable to 2951-21 pending the health department and the water passing.
This is Jason. I'll second that.
We have a motion to send APC 2951-21 to the county council with a favorable recommendation pending approval from the health department. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And we have a reading of petition number 2.
This,
Are we gonna, we're gonna table that one, are we?
Do you want me to read it and then say we're tabling it, or?
we have a request to table this petition. Mitch, does it still need to be read into the record?
No.
It's on the agenda.
Motion to
Right.
be made to table. for-
Right.
We don't need to read the whole thing.
Is that from the petitioner?
Yes, we received a request to table this petition. There were some concerns that were brought to light about increased traffic in this area as a result of this petition. The Redevelopment Commission has a study that they have retained DLZ to do to look at that whole section, and they have added or amended the agreement with, the Redevelopment Commission has amended the agreement with DLZ to include the intersection of Olive and Old Cleveland in the study. And they believe that the findings of that study would be available prior to the next rezoning hearing. So the petitioner has submitted the request to table, so we can carry out that study and get the results prior to the hearing.
We have to vote on that too, don't we? So petitioner request for a table. Do we have anybody that would like to make the motion to table?
This is Jason Lambert. I will make a motion that we table this.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to table APC 2952-21 to the April 20th meeting. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion tabled. Or I guess, hearing tabled. Petition number 3.
APC number 2953-21, a proposed ordinance of Area Plan Commission to zone from C Commercial District to A Agricultural District, property located at 54565 Sage Road.
Okay, this is a property in the middle of an agricultural area. As you can see on the map, it's just kind of a island of sea, completely surrounded by an ocean of green here, the agricultural district, and that's reinforced with the bird's eye view. There's a street level picture that I took. And then you see in this aerial closer in, there's about 20 vehicles around. This is currently being used as a mechanic shop. This was zoned as C commercial back in 2001. At the time, the county council required a written commitment. That written commitment was included in the packet. And it listed several conditions upon which, if these conditions were met, that this property would revert back to the agricultural district. In no event would it stay C commercial beyond May of 2015, which was the date of the petitioner's, the property owner, I should say, 65th birthday. At the time, it was thought that he would retire by that point. Back in May of, or not necessarily May, but in 2016, the Area Plan Commission Executive Director and Assistant Director reached out to the petitioner and said, you know, the time is up, we need to revert this back. At the time, the property owner said, you know, I'm still working as a mechanic. He explained that his wife had medical issues and that because of that, he still needed to work to pay the bills. And at the time, that was just kind of tabled by the staff internally. But then recently, I became aware of the situation and I mailed a letter, certified mail, to the property owner, let them know that due to this written commitment in place and that this has been several years after when this was supposed to sunset back in 2015, it's been an additional about 6 years now, that it's time to have it revert back to the A agricultural district. I didn't initially receive any reply. We advertised it, mailed out notices, and then I did receive a reply. The property owner's attorney did reach out to me, and I said, well, because it's already advertised, we do have to still hold this public hearing, and the process is the correct process. The written commitment was made in 2001 with a sunset provision required. And because of that sunset provision, even though it's a bit late, the appropriate course of action is to have this property revert back to A agricultural district. And so that takes us to today. As you can see, this complete setting is all agricultural nature, completely surrounding it. And this is just to make good on a commitment made and signed back in 2001. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ryan.
This is Bob Hawley.
Go ahead, Bob.
Is he still operating an automotive repair business there?
Yeah, the petitioner's representative is here, and I'm sure he'll speak to that, but I understand that he is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions by the commission? And really, this is a plan commission. We really don't need another
Correct.
petitioner.
The Plan Commission is the petitioner in this instance. We're very used to using the property owner and saying petitioner and property owner interchangeably, but by fact and right, you know, the Area Plan Commission is the petitioner and the property owner is not the petitioner in this instance.
Yeah, so I guess that was, I'd say technically our presentation, correct?
The property owner's presentation, if you wish.
Petitioner's petition.
Right. Do we let him speak now, or do we let him speak when it's public hearing?
I think you should let him speak now.
Yeah. Do we have the property owner present wishing to speak? Or representative of the property owner? Anyone?
Yes.
Oh.
My name is R. William Jonas Jr. of the firm of May, Oberfell, and Lorber. In fact, if you recognize the original written commitments for this property, they were prepared by one of my prior partners here, John Petticord. The situation here is unfortunate. I have, at the outset, I'd like to thank senior planner, Ryan Fellows, from the commission staff. He was very generous with his time in dealing with me since I've gotten involved in this matter, and he's really demonstrated the type
Here-
of professionalism.
Sir, hey, sir, I'm going to
Yes.
stop you real quick. You're cutting out real bad.
I'm sorry.
We're getting about every other word you were saying.
I'm sorry. Well, is this better?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I was taking a moment to thank Mr. Fellows for his generosity and professionalism in dealing with me at the time that I was able to get a hold of him. Everything that Mr. Fellows told you is accurate. The facts, there's no argument about the facts. You can tell from the plat that this is a C designation in an area that is all A. The written commitments were entered into in 2001, and they you can tell by looking at them that they basically put into writing the restrictions under which Mr. Sikorsky operated the property for 25 years prior to that. So he's actually operated here since about 1976. And it is absolutely accurate that the written commitments expired in 2015. It is a fact now that Mr. Sikorsky is 71 years old. The unfortunate thing, he would love to have been retired by now, but the circumstances that have presented themselves to him and his family have made that impossible. Unfortunately, his wife Beverly is in increasingly failing health and has had numerous surgeries, a couple of back surgeries, both knees replaced, and then most relevant and most recently in February, she had one of her hips replaced. And that's relevant because she was hospitalized and under rehabilitation treatment at the time that the February letter was arriving and the original contact was not made. So it was not until she got out of the hospital and back from her rehab that I was able to get involved and get in touch with Mr. Fellows then right away. It is, I think, undisputed that there haven't really been any complaints about this. Mr. Sikorsky has kept a low profile. There's no signage suggesting the operation of the machine shop and repair facility, and he's at all times kept less than the 2 employees in the original written restrictions. As things stand at present, there is only 1 employee and Mr. Sikorsky working there. Unfortunately for Mr. Sikorsky, his wife's current medical needs and medical bills are such that the income that they have from Social Security is not sufficient to cover the medical bills. So he it basically needs to continue to work because of the medical needs of his wife. We talked about the possibility of him possibly moving to another location. That is problematic given her health condition because she really can't be by herself for extended periods of time. And you can tell from the photographs that Mr. Fellows showed you that in fact the repair facility is right there by the house, so he can continue the operation of the facility and be close to provide the medical care and oversight that his wife needs and requires at that point. Our request of the commission at this time would be that you consider a renewal of the commitments that were originally in place with this property, and that you simply eliminate 1D of those commitments, which was the exact date, or I'm sorry, it was 1A of those commitments, which was the exact date of 2015 as the end date, and just allow him to continue to operate until he no longer is able to do that. At that point, there is absolutely no problem with the idea that the property would revert back to um, zoning under agricultural A. And just what that would do, if the commission would allow that, it would preserve the status quo of a business that Mr. Saporsky has operated now for some almost 50 years, and allow him to do that and care for his wife, um, uh, and pay the medical bills that she has. The traffic and other issues that might ordinarily be presented by this are not have not been a problem during the time that it's operated, and I don't really see any reason to think that they would now begin to pose some problems. So really what we're asking that the commission do is consider either tabling this so we can reach written commitments that would be acceptable, or withdrawing it altogether and just allowing the situation to continue with the sure knowledge that it will not continue after the time that Mr. Saporsky operates there. And I thank everyone for their consideration of the request, and stand available to answer any questions. I would tell you that Mr. Saporsky and Mrs. Saporsky are also on the line here, and if there are any questions that you would like to address directly to them, you're certainly willing or certainly happy to allow you to do that as well.
Thank you.
This is Bob Hawley. Just a quick question. The Sikorskis have title to the property that we're talking about?
Yes, and they have at all times since 1975.
Thank you.
Any other questions by the commission? We'll go ahead and open it up to the public for discussion. Is there anybody on, so the request is to rezone it back to agricultural, is the petition. So anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please speak forward and raise your hand. Seeing none, anyone else wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand, state your name. Seeing none, do we have a discussion or any other last comments by the commission or staff?
Abby Wiles, Director of Area Plan Commission. What the petitioner's attorney has proposed is understandable, However, I think that staff would prefer if we included some kind of a sunset similar to what was done in the prior approval.
We would
This is
certainly,
Jason. Oh, sorry.
I would just say from our standpoint, we would certainly entertain that kind of a request.
So we would be looking to, from staff perspective, and certainly this is the commission's decision, as to what the petitioner would think would be appropriate for an extension.
At this point, I would say if a specific date were required, we would ask until he turns 80, which would be in now I have to do the math. I believe that is 2030.
9 years.
9 more years. Anyone on the commission, questions, comments? Thoughts?
This is Jason Lambright. My one concern was that exactly, what would happen with this property if we were to rezone it commercial. What would happen then when the business ceased to be there? To me, it does not seem like this is your average mechanic shop. The traffic would be extremely low, and I think if there hasn't been any issues to this point, I don't see a problem in extending that deadline or that date out to for another 9-10 years, with that understanding that this would be returned to agriculture at that time.
We got a discussion here on the staff.
So from staff's perspective, I think some of the other terms are a little more ambiguous. Whereas if we have a date in the sand that we know, we can bring this back, that it gets flagged on our end, that's preferable.
Right. Otherwise, it's not flagged and it gets oversawed and
Yeah.
it could stay that way forever, correct? If there's no date put down.
Well, it's ultimately on staff. Ryan became aware of this one because he was,
By accident. I was on a call with someone who was asking about a property not too far from here, and my curiosity just said, I wonder why there's this red dot in a sea of green, and I clicked on it, and I saw the written commitment, and I said, oh, we should probably fix this. Ultimately, when you do not have a date on there, you get to the point where, well, back in 2021, the county was aware of this, they didn't put a date on there, and I want to be able to, God forbid, this family passes away, but their heirs would say, well, we want to sell this property as a commercial property, and we want, to get a value out of that, which I could understand wanting, and then you have it continue on as commercial because there's nothing sunsetting it to stop it. Another option could be, if this were rezoned to a agricultural district, then you technically would have a legal non-conforming use.
I don't think that that's ideal either.
It's not ideal.
Going back to what Ryan was saying, the commitments previously were the owner's voluntary retirement. We're not going to reach out to the owner, in 5 years and ask if he's retired.
Right.
However, if we have a commitment with a specific date, that's a little more clear. Same with the death of the owner. We're not in the practice of checking obituaries weekly for, land use petitions.
But if it gets property
Rachel Rawls,
transferred
can
title.
we,
But
sorry, can we just set the date for the day after his 80th birthday like they previously suggested?
Yes, our council has confirmed, yes. You can.
So we don't need to have another rezoning, or how would we go forth on this? Because
It would be a repeat of today would happen. We would send out mail them a letter, certified mail, saying, we see a red commitment is here, that on this date, this has to be terminated, in, 40 days or whatever it is, you're gonna have a public hearing, and then we'd be just like where we're at right now.
Actually, this is Mitch Heppenheimer. What occurred with this situation was, the original commitments stated May of 2015. Around that period of time, APC staff contacted the owner, I believe, and the owner indicated to staff that the wife was having medical problems back then, and there was a need because of, similar to what's been presented today, that he requested on an informal basis, based on that contact, that the property remain under the C classification. The staff at that time agreed, and so no action was taken. Now, 5 years later, it's come up again. And by the way, that contact really happened in about 2017 or 2018. It was a couple of years afterwards, as a matter of fact. It wasn't after the date. So this is the second time, first time formally, second time that this matter has come before the staff. The other point that I wanted to make was the commitments that are currently in place talk about an automatic reversion back to agricultural. When the matter was brought to the attention of the staff, we had a discussion, and we felt that the proper way to do this, as opposed to automatically switching it back to the A, the fairest way to do this was to have the staff-initiated petition that we're in front of today to effectuate the commitments. I still believe that was the correct way, as opposed to doing it administratively. And now, as you heard, there's a request to continue it again. And if the commission feels that continuing on the A designation is appropriate, that's fine. But I think we need some date certain. I don't know if it's 9 years has been requested or whatever the time period is, but I think a certain date needs to be set there. I can't tell you what's gonna happen. I don't know if anybody at this table is gonna be here in 9 years, but and I don't know that we would have a calendar that triggers in 9 years to an automatic reversion back. But my sense is that after whatever period of time you choose, that there'll be a review of it again and some kind of a handling of it. I would expect, though, that if the commission is in favor of extending it and setting a date certain, excuse me, that the onus be put on the owner or his representative to notify the area plan commission of the death or the retirement set out in the commitments. I think we should add another commitment, putting the onus on the owner of a notice to us, so that we, or the staff, so that we know that has occurred. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. So if we were to go about amending that, do we deny the petition, or do we just amend the petition? Are we allowed to approve extending in that today, or does it need to come back?
I think that the statute allows for the owner to request a new commitment. So I think what we would do, we would show that as far as the petition is concerned, that the petition be denied subject to the entry of a new written commitment and modify the commitment. Mr. Jonas indicated it would only be a change at 1A. I would indicate to you it would be a change at 1A with a date certain. Well, I think the commitments would have to be changed somewhat differently, because it talks about the 65th birthday. So 1A would be changed to whatever date you put in there. If the commission is going to give the 9-year period of time, it would be whatever the date was, 2030, I guess it would be, or the 80th birthday. And also at 1D, it would say the death of the owner or death of the owner occurring before whatever the date is, that the commitment would revert back. So there's changes of 1A and 1D.
And you're also requesting having a notice to the Plan Commission.
Yes, and add another, I guess it would be under section 1, add an E, indicating the owner does agree to notify area plan commission of any of the above triggers: the 80th birthday, the retirement, sale, or death. And I'm sure Mr. Jonas would be more than happy to supply a written commitment for our review.
As he's been before, Mr. Heppenheimer is right about that.
This is Bob Hawley. Mitch, I think, is right on target. One of my concerns was the fact that there could be an illness by Mr. Sikorsky. He's 71 years old, and a lot can happen over the next few years, and I think we need something to trigger this. I'm in favor of continuing operation because he needs the income, and I understand that. I'm sympathetic to it, but I want to make sure that we got our bases covered so that if something should happen, God forbid, that it somehow or another gets back to us so we can pursue it from that point forward. Thank you.
So we need a motion. My understanding, the motion from consensus would be a denial subject to revised written commitments, correct?
I'll make a motion that we do that. Oh, I lost it. For rewritten, I lost what I was gonna say.
So you're recommending the denial of the petition subject to the written commitments new written commitments by the owner
Correct.
to the 80,
Bob Hawley seconds.
to the 80 years of age amendment.
Correct.
And owner notification, I'm sorry.
Correct. So we have a motion and a second to send APC 2953-21. Well, no, we wouldn't be sending it, would we?
Sorry?
We don't send this to the county council, right? Or do we?
Yes, you do.
If we deny it?
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second to send APC 2953-21 to the county council with the unfavorable recommendation, subject to revised written commitments by the owner, amending to his 80th birthday, and also adding notice to the APC of any of the above triggers. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
I
Aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries, or I guess motion denied.
Well, the motion was approved.
Yeah,
to
motion
deny,
was approved,
To
yeah.
recommend unfavorably, so.
Thank you. Any items not requiring public hearing?
No.
May we have the executive director's report?
All right. I will just hit the highlights here for you all. Included in your packets is the 2020 annual report and 2021 work plan. Wow, even through the pandemic, we did a lot. And when I say we, I mean the guys, because I came in August. They had a number of zoning ordinance updates queued up for me, or to review. The solar section went through before I even came on, as did revisions to accessory uses, trailers, and mobile homes, and really a revamp of the subdivision ordinance, which Sean took the lead on. We, in 2021, have revised the filing deadline for rezonings down considerably from 6 weeks to, I think, 4 weeks and 1 day, Ryan. So that's some of what we did, specific accomplishments in 2020. In terms of the case petition breakdown, that is all shown on pages 7 through 11, or yes, 7 through 11 of your packets. Even with the City of South Bend's departure from the Area Plan Commission, rezoning petitions, including map changes only and combined hearings, increased from 21 to 24 during the COVID pandemic. So it shows you that we're as busy as ever. Of the 24 rezonings and combined hearings, the majority, of course, were in unincorporated St. Joe County, one in the town of New Carlisle, and one in the town of Osceola. And then a number of text amendments were put forward. Even, again, with the city of South Bend's departure, we did 10 text amendments. Subdivisions, 66 were filed in 2020, compared to 57 in 2019. And this represents petitions filed, so we had petitions that hit in 2020 that were filed in much earlier in 2019, and then anything filed in 2020 that went on a 2021 agenda aren't represented here. Board of Zoning Appeals petitions held pretty steady. When you account for South Bend's departure, I believe that we had 56 total. And then revenue was down a little bit from past years. In terms of 2021 work plan moving forward, this kind of rolls into my the other items on my report, but the big ticket item on the docket for 2021 is the comprehensive plan update. Other than that, we are still working on a backlog of zoning enforcement complaints from 2020 and getting through those and developing a streamlined system. Still working on our website and getting our forms and payments up online. There are a number of zoning ordinance updates that we need to do and developing a better system for post-construction inspections for our planning item and zoning items, because we do have a number of new board members on both area plan and area board of zoning appeals, and to look for ways to provide additional training to you all. I know you've had some training in the past, but something we want to think about for 2021. So then, are there any questions on the annual report for 2020 or the work plan for 2021 before I move on? If not, okay. So comprehensive plan update. Proposals from consultants interested in assisting us with that process were due to the county commissioners today at 10 a.m. and we received a total of 12 proposals, which is really exciting. A bulk of firms are from Indiana, but I believe a couple are from Michigan, one from Ohio, a couple, or 3 or so from the Chicago area, and then a couple outside of the Midwest. The next steps for that process is that we'll have a selection committee that reads the proposals and scores them against the criteria in the comprehensive plan. Adam will be on that committee as APC president. So once we have all of the score sheets back, we'll look at the top firms and then likely interview the top few. Any questions on the comp plan, feel free to reach out to me via phone or email, but it's really an exciting process. And then just wanted to give you a little update on the ABZA. We did have a resignation. Mike Urbanski had been a longtime member, and he announced last month that March would be his last meeting. The Board of Commissioners appointed DJ Tavernier as his replacement. He owns River Valley Construction and had represented a petition on the BZA several months ago and then became interested in serving. So we're excited to have him on board, starting in April. And that's all I have unless there's any questions about the comp plan or anything else.
If anyone's interested in reading all those proposals, all that exciting time.
What I will note for Adam's benefit, after we went through a couple different iterations of the RFP, we limited proposals to 30 pages. So you only really have to read 30 times 12.
Only.
Thank you. Anything else, Abby?
No.
If I may, I'll just add that I just kind of looking down at the staff report, just kind of remembering everything happening over this last year. In particular, my eye just kind of caught on Jordan Wyatt, who you may remember worked here until February of 2020, so about a year ago. And one of his big achievements before he left was the solar ordinance, which I understand I heard secondhand that we received an award for. and that was received at the County Board of Commissioners some time ago, and so that was welcome news to hear, and it just highlights an additional point, which, you know, we're very proud that we were the first county in the state to get a solar ordinance, and Jordan is really at the core of that, and it also highlights that we, back when we had the city of South Bend as a member, you know, as Abby already highlighted, all of the accomplishments of how many applications we've been processing, which has not gone down. We're all doing this with 3 of us and not 4 of us. So I just wanted to highlight that extra bit.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Any other comments from anybody on Abby's report?
No, but I think you do have approval of minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Anyone have any questions or comments on minutes?
Corrected minutes.
Yes, and I just want to note, because Sam did a full, I don't know if you all noticed, but had to complete a full transcription because of the situation with Hickory Heights Estates. We prepared a full transcription, went back and cleaned it up a little bit from the original iteration.
Anyone? McNamara's not here, so anyone making a motion for minutes?
I make a motion that we accept minutes as presented.
This is Jason Lambright. I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes presented, minutes of February 9th, 2021. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, hit same sign. Minutes pass. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
The motion is second for adjournment. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Was that Bob? Bob, you staying on?